Valmiki Ramayana, Bala Kanda, Book 1, Sarga 26, Canto 26. The Forest of Tadaka. When the fair light of morning rose, the princely turners of their foes followed his morning worship o'er the hermit to the river's shore. The high-souled men, with thoughtful care, a pretty barge had stationed there. All cried, "O Lord, this barge ascend, and with thy princely followers bend to yonder side thy prosperous way, with naught to check thee or delay." Nor did the saint their rede reject. He bade farewell with due respect, and crossed attended by the twain that river rushing to the main. When now the bark was halfway o'er, Rama and Lakshman heard the roar, that louder grew and louder yet, of waves by dashing waters met. Then Rama asked the mighty seer, "What is the tumult that I hear of waters cleft in mid-career?" Soon as the speech of Rama, stirred by deep desire to know, he heard, the pious saint began to tell what caused the waters roar and swell. On high Kailasha's distant hill there lies a noble lake, whose waters, born from Brahma's will, the name of Manas take. Thence, hallowing where'er they flow, the streams of Saraju fall, and wandering through the plains below, embrace Ayodhya's wall. Still preserved in Saraju's name, Sarovar's fame we trace. The flood of Brahma, whence she came to run her holy race. To meet great Ganga, here she hies with tributary wave. Hence the loud roar ye hear arise of floods that swell and rave. Here, pride of Raghu's line, do thou in humble adoration bow. He spoke, the princes both obeyed, the reverence to each river paid. They reached the southern shore at last, and gaily on their journey passed. A little space beyond there stood a gloomy, awe-inspiring wood. The monarch's noble son began to question thus the holy man, "Whose gloomy forest meets mine eye, like some vast cloud that fills the sky. Pathless and dark it seems to be, where birds in thousands wander free, where shrill cicadas cries around, and fall of dismal note abound. Lion, rhinos and bear, tiger, elephant are there. There shrubs and thorns run wild. Thou sal, bignonia, bell are found. And every tree that grows on ground, how is the forest styled?" The glorious saint this answer made, "Dear child of Raghu here, who dwells within the horrid shade that looks so dark and drear. Where now is wood, long ere this day, two broad and fertile lands, Malaja and Karusha lay, adorned by heavenly hands, here mourning friendship's broken ties. Lord Indra of the thousand eyes, hungered and sorrowed many a day, his brightness soiled with mud and clay. When in a storm of passion he had slain his dear friend Namuchi, then came the gods and saints who bore their golden pitchers brimming o'er with holy streams that banish stain, and bade Lord Indra pure again. When in this land the gods, when in this land the god was freed from spot and stain of impious deed, for that his own dear friend he slew, high transport thrilled his bosom through. Then in his joy the lands he blessed, and gave a boon they long possessed. Because these fertile lands retain the washings of the blood and stain, 'twas thus Lord Indra sware, Malaja and Karusha's name shall celebrate with deathless fame my malady and care. So be it, all the immortals cried, when Indra's speech they heard, and with acclaim they ratified the name his lips conferred. Long time, a long time, O victor of thy foes, these happy lands had sweet repose, and higher still in fortune rose, at length a spirit loving ill, Tadaka wearing shapes at will, whose mighty strength exceeding vast, 1,000 elephants surpassed, was to fierce Sunda lord and head of all the demon armies wed. From her Lord Indra's spear in might, giant Maricha sprang to light, and she a constant plague and pest these two fair realms has long distressed. Now dwelling in her dark abode, a league away she bars the road, and we, O Rama, hence must go, where lies the forest of the foe. Now on thine own right arm relay, and my command obey. Smite the foul monster that she die, and take the plague away. To reach this country none may dare, fallen from its old estate, which she whose fury not can bear has left so desolate. And now my truthful tale is told, how with accursed sway the spirit plagued this wood of old, and ceases not today. Jai Valmiki Ramayana ki jai. Footnotes 38:1. The bodiless one. 38:1b. A celebrated lake regarded in India as sacred. It lies in the lofty region between the northern highlands of the Himalayas and Mount Kailash, the region of the sacred lakes. The poem, following the popular Indian belief, makes the river Sarayu, now Saraju, flow from the Manasa lake. The sources of the river are a little to the south, about a day's journey from the lake. See Lassen Indice Altertumsbunde. Page 34, Gorbesio. Manas means mind, manasa, mental, mind born. 38-2b, Sarovara means best of lakes. This is another of the poet's fanciful etymologies. 38-3b, the confluence of two or more rivers is often a venerated and holy place. The most famous is Prayag or Allahabad, where the Saraswati, by an underground course, is believed to join the Jamuna and the Ganga. 39.1. The botanical names of the trees mentioned in the text are grizzly, tormentosa, harea, robusta, echites antidiesenterica, bignonia suveolens, egle marmelos, and Diospyros glutinosa. I have omitted the Kutaja, Enchites, and Tinduca Diospyros. 39.2. Here we meet with a fresh myth to account for the name of these regions. Malaja is probably a non-Aryan word signifying a hilly country. Taken as a Sanskrit compound, it means sprung from defilement. The word Karusha appears to have a somewhat similar meaning. Okay, so let's dissect all this bullshit by Dr. Ralph Griffith. Oh, just fanciful words. He's trying with his fanciful words, pose as some smart dude. He's a fool number one. But at the same time, he does excellent job translating into beautiful British language. It's what is beautiful is the way the poetry is really beautiful. This British poetry by Ralph Griffith is very beautiful, but his interpretations and misinterpretations are really troubling, troubling. Fresh myth. What is myth? What is myth? Here we meet with a fresh myth on account for the name of these regions. Myth, I guess myth. Come on, your stupid religion is a myth. Ramayana is a historical text. Malaja is probably a non-Aryan word. Probably. How do you know? You're just making things up. Then he talks about some botanical names. He gives these big, Latin names as if he knows what he's talking about. And he can't give Sanskrit names. He has to give these stupid Latin names. Nobody knows anyway. You have to be a botanist, and somebody who knows trees to know these, technical terms. Latin that nobody knows, dead language. Sanskrit is still living, Sanskrit language is still living. There's still, hundreds of thousands of people learning Sanskrit in Gurukulams in India. So, thank you, India, for that. While Latin, who is studying Latin? Some couple of popes. Who is speaking Latin? Nobody. Almost, it's a dead language. Sanskrit at least is going on still today. So, the fool could not just kept Sanskrit names of the trees. He has to give us these Latin names. The confluence of two or more rivers is often venerated a holy place. The most famous is Prayag or Allahabad. It's Prayag, not Allahabad. Allahabad, has no place in India. Okay, Allahabad. Call it Prayag, okay? Call it traditional names. Don't call it these new stupid names. Where Saraswati by underground course is believed to join Jamuna and Ganges. Okay. Sarovar means best of lakes. This is another fanciful etymologist. Come on, Raf, just stop it. Just stop it. You are being fanciful. Sarovar is a Sanskrit term for lake. Like a reservoir. British word reservoir is coming from Sarovar, Sanskrit Sarovar, Sarovar. You know, you you just don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Ralph Griffith. A celebrated lake regarded in India as sacred. It lies in the lofty region between the northern highland and Himalayas and Mount Kailash. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, a celebrated lake regarded in India as sacred. He's talking about Manasa Sarovara. Okay, Lord Brahma's lake near Kailash. At least I'm happy that he said it's in India. Okay, because today, as I'm looking at the Gulag, google.com gulag, it says that Kailash is not in India, is in China. Okay, since when do yellow people have control over Kailash? We all know that yellow people don't worship Shiva, they worship Buddha. So who gave the rights? What kind of national treaty gave the rights to Chinese, to Ching Chongs, to to uh, colonize the whole of India, Tibet, and in Himalayas and Kailash? Who gave the go ahead to these Ching Chongs? We know that Kailash for millions of years belongs to India. Okay, this is traditional cultural things. Sanskrit, Shiva, Brahma, Manasarova. This is all Vedas. Since when Ching Chongs now own Kailash? In other words, the whole agenda is to destroy Vedic culture as much as possible and steal everything from India by the West and now by China. Okay, beautiful chapter. Credit where credit is due. Mr. Ralph Griffith did awesome job making this in a beautiful British poetic language. Talks about Rama and Lakshmana along with their guru Vishwamitra crossing the river Saraju and asking questions. Rama and Lakshmana asking questions about the place, about so many beautiful places they are going through, like confluence of Saraju and Ganga, and the history, how this came about, and finally crossing to the other side on a boat, and finally coming to a big forest, asking who dwells in that forest. And then Vishwamitra says the history of the forest. It belonged to King Indra, and then a demoness, Tandaka, is now in charge. So, yeah, Valmiki Ramayana, Bala, Kanda, Book 1, Sarga 26, Canto 26, The Forest of Tandaka. Ciao.